You
All you
got
need is the one person and no recipe.
gotcha.
Yeah, man.
Huh?
Oh, looks like we're live, brother.
Yes, indeed.
All right. What's up, everybody? Once again, this is Aaron Redmond's family, friends and family, Zoom live podcast. Today we are talking mental health. Mental health, something that I've dealt with all my life. And guess what? I didn't even know most of my life that I had a mental health issue until I would say my 20s, late 20s, early 30s, I would think. Uh, back when I was young, mental health was not meant the same way it is now. When I was young, if someone said you had a mental issue, it was a fighting words, man. You didn't call someone crazy. You could get beat up for that. You know what I mean? But now it's you know it's been determined that so much of America, which is true, if you think about how we were put together in the first place, so much of us have mental issues that we've discovered, we've indoctrinated the science of psychology into a lot of our lives, even in our workforce. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna just talk about mine and how it affected me. You know, I had a lot of problems when I was a child. When I was born to the hospital for too long. You know what I mean? And when I guess I don't remember none of this stuff. The only things I remember is grabbing a turkey leg and walking to the living room and my mom saying, "Oh, my baby's hungry," and that's probably where it all started, y'all. That's that's where the food problem started, But as far as the mental issue, I was very quiet as a child. I really didn't say much. I don't know if that was part of it. Probably was. I don't know. I don't know. I just didn't think I had to say anything because I thought it was a waste of time. Because I had a twin. He talked a lot. Take over, bro. You know what I mean? But I can tell you that my physical problems mixed with my mental problems, I had a physical problem. I was a big boy. I had sleep apnea. I snored as a child, really loud. You know what I mean? No one knew what sleep apnea was back then when I was a kid. You know what I mean? So I grew up tired all my life. Didn't even know it. Just tired. Always sleeping, always there's never enough sleep. You know what I mean? And I did that all of my life until like my mid 30s. Um, Found out I had sleep apnea, which can cause a lot of problems for a child, even if his brain chemistry can be changed from a lack of oxygen most of your life. So after my mom had forced me because I was so used to snoring all the time that it didn't seem like a big deal to me. But my mom forced me to go to the doctor, and I went to the doctor, found out I had sleep apnea, and took care of that. But that was after I found out other health issues that I had. You know what I mean? One of the health issues that I found out through drug addiction. I became a drug addict, and one of the things I found out through drug addiction was that people who suffer from severe depression or even other types of mental illness often self medicate. They often find themselves in some type of addiction type of problem because they're trying to make up for the chemical problem that they have in their head. You know what I mean? And that's all. It's all well and good. I'm very grateful that I discovered that. But let me tell you, the discovery wasn't taken well. I did not take it well. At first, when I found out I had severe depression, I was like, oh, well, that explains a lot. You know what I'm saying? But when the work had to be done, that was a problem. You know what I mean? Because I argued with them doctors. I was going to just sit down and let somebody tell me something was wrong with me or that this isn't normal. You know what I mean? But I grew up, you know what I'm saying? I grew up, and because I listened to those doctors and was willing to do some work, my life changed. You know, the illness don't go away. The illness didn't change. I changed. I started treating the illness along with my doctors, and it changed my life. You know, mental illness is a very real thing. It looks, when you see it in other people, it looks monstrous almost. You know what I mean? Like it looks very defeating. You know what I mean? And it makes people with mental illness a lot of times look like we're capable of anything. Some of us are, but I'm just saying for myself, it was a long battle. I learned a lot from my battle with my mental illness, but I also am grateful that I live in an age where they can say that this is a psychological problem and we can actually treat it. You know, there was a time where they would just say you're possessed. You know what I'm saying? Or you got some type of demon on you, or you know what I'm saying? They would do some really horrible things to you at one time. Now it's we're at an age where mental illness is seen as a sickness, not a demonic possession. You know what I mean? And so I'm grateful for being alive now. And let me mute these two. I'm grateful for being alive now, but I am also grateful that I had friends and family. They had to watch me, you know what I'm saying, in my years of happiness and despair. They had to watch me, you know what I mean? But I am grateful to be here now and alive and a part of. And I just want to say thank you guys for coming. Look, I got Andre and Carmen and Rob came. My girl Elfie, New York City. We all know her as Irene rather. And look, I got a Marie on here. Look, a lot of people showing up. What's up, Uncle Joe? Look, I'm glad everybody showed up. I'm gonna shut up so other people get a chance to speak on it. Hey everybody. This is about mental health. This is about people with mental health issues, or you're dealing with people with mental health issues and what you had to do with it, or yourself. So I'm gonna let other people talk, and we are allowed to talk amongst each other, but just don't go too crazy. There are no professors up in here for mental health. Okay, so just chill out. And I'm gonna let Rob speak because Rob was here first, and that's my man. He's my sidekick to my sidekick, man. Yo, Rob, go ahead and tell us about your thoughts and dealings with mental health in your life, man.
Good evening, everybody. I'm one of those people who think that mental health issues can be passed on, basically hereditary. I think it can be passed on from one generation to the other. I had without throwing too much shade on my dad, I had a messed up dad. He was definitely there for me. He was definitely a provider, grew up in the same house, stuff like that. But he had some issues. And you grow up in a neighborhood where everybody's dads are pretty much decent people and nature or nurture their sons and stuff like that. And I looked up to other people's dads. My dad was tripping. My dad was one of the ones that very abusive and physically abusive, mentally abusive, and stuff like that. And when you're a child, you just assume that that's the norm because that's all you ever known. I didn't find out about his dad. Like he would mention things about his dad that pretty much told me he was a messed up person. I didn't realize how violent his dad was until I met my father's wife, who lived to be 100 years old. And so she told me about, the abusive stuff that he used to do, how he, hit some woman over the head with I don't know about the age of everybody in your group, but back in the day, lamps had very heavy bases back in the day, like marble. A lamp used to weigh like 30, 40 pounds. And so he hit this woman over the head with it back when he was younger and messed this woman up for the rest of her life. He didn't go to jail because, that was a different time and you know, he was black and stuff like that, and she was black, and I guess it was got overlooked or whatever. But I found out that my paternal grandfather was a messed up person. My father was a messed up person. And as you start growing up as yourself, when you start having thoughts, and when I say thoughts, I'm not talking about, you know, me, you know, running up and shooting up nobody. It's just, but the anger was in me as a child into a teenager. And when you're that age, you're like, why am I so angry all the time? Like I got suspended from school like 3 times. If you said boo to me, it's on. You know what I'm saying? I took everything as a personal insult. I took everything as someone trying to undermine me or disrespect me. And it was like after I started learning about, you know, my father and his father, I was like, there's a pattern here. You know what I'm saying? There's a pattern of, I think that it definitely lessened with every generation. Like, you know, my father may have not done the same thing as his father did, and I may have not done the things that my own father did, but it was like if that sort of thing is possible that it can be passed from generation to generation, some people are screwed from the very beginning because they are living their lives not realizing like why am I like this, especially if it's undiagnosed, especially if you don't know your history, if you don't know your dad or whatever like that. um I had issues for such a long time. Um, once I acknowledged that I was tripping. A lot of people they have issues with just even admitting that they're the problem. Like I saw from an early age that I was the problem. I knew that it wasn't normal to react so angrily over something. Like I could be cool, having a good time with everyone, and somebody would say something, and I'm like, I'm ready to go. And sometimes I used it as sort of a badge of protection because I grew up in West Philly, where it's like, yeah, I'm a tall, skinny dude with glasses. So like that was my protection method. Like if somebody, people, my reputation was if somebody were to say anything, yo, you know how Rob is. Like that was the ongoing thing. Is like, all right, y'all know how Rob is, so you can't, you know, go there because now everybody, it's time to put their hands up. So, but as I got out of my teens and again, college, still think I'm still tripping all the time. I finally had to realize, like, yo, you have to change because this isn't the man or person you wanted to be. Yes, I was a nice guy. I was a calm guy. I was laid back, decent person. That basically, if you didn't cross me, you would never see this bad person that was in me. But you know, I never saw, you know, professional help or whatever like that. I just changed the type of person I was. You know, think twice before you lash out and say something. I mean, we all know how hurtful words can be. Like, take a second and breathe before you say something that you can't take back. And unfortunately, a lot of times I end up saying things that to this day I'm like, yo, like, why did I say that? Like, I'm talking about like stuff that affected people for years. Like, why? Why did I say that one thing that because I instantly reacted, I said some really horrible things to people that, you know, no one ran out the door crying or like that, but just kind of one of them things that just tears a person down, be it friend or family, whatever like that. So um, you know, I put on this other shield of super kindness when I came across people, just to kind of keep down the anger that was in me all the time. And the reason why I bring up the whole, you know, heredity thing is like, um, you know, I have sons that are, you know, 15 and 11, and one of them is an earshot of me right now as I say this, but you know, I see the anger in them sometimes, you know, and like I know where it comes from, you know what I'm saying? So it's like I can't say like why you like that. Well, all I gotta do is look in the mirror. Like they're like that because I'm like that because their father's father was like that, and so forth and so on. So, but the difference is like, you know, no one took my paternal grandfather to the side and said, "Hey, this is an issue. You need to take a step back." No one took my father to the side and say, "Hey, you know what? You have a problem, you know, whatever." I diagnosed my own problem. I knew I was doing. I'm quick to tell you I'm the one that's tripping, and now I'm able to do that with my own sons. Like, yo, just chill for a minute, and then you know rethink this, and then you know we can move on or whatever like that. So um, that's my contribution for tonight. It's just like I'm definitely one of those people because I've seen it firsthand about how mental health. I'm just talking about regards to anger or stuff like that. I know mental health can go. We can talk depression. We can talk other things, but the things that have affected my life has not been, stuff that necessarily needs medication. It's just that it's a definite thought process that for me, I've seen it through all these different people, including myself first and foremost. And I just know that like, wow, like I have an issue and I really have to, even at work, I've been at the same job 24 years. I have to catch myself because especially when you're the nice guy, like when you're the nice guy, sometimes people, they take, what's that saying, take your kindness for weakness. Like
Mhm.
there are people who will push you because they think they could get over on you because they just see you being this happy guy all the time. And I'm like, okay, you can't be that way at work because you will be unemployed real quick. Like, so I had to take a step back and say, all right, you can't let your coworkers see this side of you because it's not professional. And let's face it, you might end up saying something that you can't take back. So that's my contribution for tonight.
All right, thanks, man. I appreciate it, Rob. You know what? You kept talking about your father and your grandfather, and you know what? I thought for a very long time that it was just me. You know what I mean? That I was the only crazy one in the family, like that had to go and see. But then I realized, I said, hold on, I got a brother, a sister that's obviously got problems. You know what I'm saying? But we never looked at it like that. We always just said they just being assholes. They just goofy. You know what I'm saying? We didn't think of it as a mental. We just thought they were annoying and needed attention all the time. You know what I mean? And then the only reason I know is because I had one. I had to go. You know what I'm saying? And that made me look at my family a little different. It's easier for me to spot who had my problems. You know what I mean? So it was easy for me to be forgiving, a little more forgiving than usual. You know what I mean? I found out that it runs in my fam. I found out it runs deep in my fam and didn't even know it until I was like 50. you know? And that's like, sometimes I think that a lot of us, our families, we don't have that history, right? And we don't have that history of knowing who the other half of our family is, so we don't even know. Like I grew up without my father. I don't know my father. I don't really know my father's people. But I visited him once, and yeah, I could see that. Yeah, there's mental illness over there too, and I could say this for sure, right? Uh, uh, it runs in my family. It's a real thing. It's not a joke, and it hurts, yo. It hurts. Like people think that they're being hurt, but the person going through it, you have no idea what that person's going through. You know what I mean?
Keep in mind, even admitting that was something that we as a people wouldn't have done a generation ago because it seems like a badge of weakness. You know what I'm saying? What, something's wrong with y'all? Get out of here.
yes,
People kept that stuff to themselves because mental health, like you said in the beginning, mental health was something different back in the day. Like you didn't want to admit it. You definitely didn't want to dig too deep because you were afraid. You're afraid what you might find. You might find somebody came out of an asylum years ago, or somebody who just did something a long time ago. You know what I'm saying? So I'm glad we're finally at a place where it can be openly discussed without some sort of shame or scarlet letter or whatever like that.
that's right. That's right. Okay, we're going to move on from us, Rob, and talk to a few other folk. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Andre Carmen, what's up? Joe, what's up? Irene and Marie and Raquel, what's up? You know what? Marie and Raquel, can you guys show your faces? I don't know. I don't know who I'm looking at or talking to. Can you show your faces? Can you talk? Hold on. Maybe it's my fault. Hold on. Maybe I gotta unmute them. Ask to unmute. That's right. That's right. Ask to unmute. If you guys want to say something, let me know. I'm gonna move on to Hold on. Marie, you have to mute yourself. Look at y'all hiding. Anyway, I'm going to move on. Y'all can sit down and watch if you want to, but I'm going to move on, and I'm going to talk to my man Uncle Joe, because Uncle Joe, me and him is speaking. I'm going to unmute him, see if he wants to say anything, or if he just wants to like watch. Hey, can you hear me?
I hear you, brother. You hear me all right?
Hey, how you been, man?
It's a tough time right now, but getting through it.
All right. Do you want to just watch? You have anything to say, my brother?
Well, I don't really have a lot to say on this topic. Unfortunately, I lost both of my parents. I don't even know about history, really, family history and stuff. So, and I have a brother that's definitely got some mental issues that were caused by an operation he had that put him in extreme pain. They got him hooked on Oxycontin back in the 90s, and it literally, to me, it drove him nuts. So I'm helping him through a tough situation now too. So I'm not a professional at all on the topic. So I'm just doing the best I can to help with the professionals with him and stuff. So
you're just being there. That's what counts, man.
For now, I'm ready to head south though.
I understand. It's not easy. It's not easy. Dealing with mental health people, we can be a little, problematic. You know what I mean? So I get it. But the fact that you're trying and that you want to show love is cool, man. If you don't have anything else much to say, you can just watch and just ask questions if you want. I want to get over here to Marie. Hey, Marie. Marie, you want to say anything? Yeah, I see your face a little bit. You got to unmute yourself. I don't think she's on video. Okay, I'm going to move on. Yo, Andre, Carmen, how y'all doing? Good. I'm going to let y'all.
There you go.
Mental health man or anything?
Okay, so I don't. Okay, so I'm honored that my daughter's actually in the next room, and she might learn some things. My daughter Raquel is actually in the other room. My son-in-law and her came in from Florida for the day. They'll be leaving tomorrow, and so when I got dropped off with the milk, I don't know any history about my blood family about mental health, but when I got diagnosed with PTSD and anxiety in 2012, I had no idea that I had that. I just thought it was the norm that your heart's supposed to race like that, and you're supposed to have bad dreams and all that stuff. So I didn't know that. And my life was abandonment. Abandonment. Therapy allowed me to face some things. The abandonment part, the trauma part, going through domestic violence, working in law enforcement. With that said, so I lived that life, and then I got diagnosed. But at the same time, when I was going through domestic violence, I exposed my children to that. So they have anxiety. So, I was so busy with my domestic violence that I was not, when it came out that my children have anxiety, it was the cause of what I exposed them to. So, how do I say? It was not easy to watch your children go through anxiety. It's easier for you to deal with your anxiety, but when you watch your own child go through something like that and they voice it, I think that was the hardest thing. So it was passed on. So I learned through therapy some tools that they gave me. So I also learned that I see only through therapy, and I'm not a professional, is that I could see that my mom had their depression. She will never admit that it was taboo back in those days. even when I was growing up until 2011, 2012, I would have never told anybody I was depressed or had anxiety. I mean, I had no idea. I just, you suck it up, buttercup, and keep it moving. Those words never came into my mouth until I was told, you have bad dreams of, but therapy allowed me to deal with the anxiety and those bad dreams, and then I can pass on to my children how to deal with anxiety. Also, growing up in the middle, and also in Puerto Rico, we're kind of like wild children because we're like really like unaccompanied, and we were really not watched. I'm not trying to put my mom down or anything, but she was a single parent. We were alone a lot, so it was a fittest of the survival. As soon as somebody irked you, it was going down, and eventually, how do I say? Had to learn a way how to manage my anger, and my children are shocked at some of the stories, and me growing up, because by the time I started showing them that they have to manage their anger. It's when I was starting to get therapy. Does that make sense? Like I said, okay, I got to calm down. I don't have to be right about everything. If if it doesn't get fixed, my attitudes, karma will take its course. You don't have to be right about everything. And I try to instill that the last couple of years of my children's life. And I'm saddened to say that they saw some things, but I'm hoping that I can always instill in them how to use the tools that were handed to me by therapy. And, for a long time, I thought that if I told somebody I went to therapy, that I would show weakness. But I think therapy really helped me a lot. It gave me a lot of tools, meditation. She made me look at myself. One of the domestic violence, I couldn't even be in the same room with my children's father, or I couldn't hear his voice. It would just trigger me. And that lady took the whole time, and I could be in the same room with him, and I'm not triggered anymore. But I didn't know that was part of my PTSD, and anxiety. But now I could be in the same room and have no problem. And we actually, have a relationship with these grandkids. We have our grandkids, and that's how I dealt with them. So my children, when I see them and blow up or be impulsive or anxiety, I try to use the tools that I was given and pass it on to them. I do feel guilty. So that's why I try not to dismiss their explosions. Sometimes they take it out on me because I'm the only one they have to take it out on. And eventually we come back and we speak about it. But I feel a tad of guilt, but I have some tools that I was introduced to and pass it on to them. That's what I have to share.
Well, that's what's up. All right, somebody has to keep on.
Say something with that? My daughter's right here. Can my daughter say?
Go ahead.
Hey, Aaron, mute Marie. That it's coming from Marie, I think.
Let's see.
Okay, well, I'm the youngest of the tribe. As she said, we've experienced a lot. During our childhood, as she said, a lot of us had issues regarding anxiety. For example, with me, I used to have panic attacks in my sleep, and I had to go get seen at doctors for it. I couldn't go to school without having an anxiety attack. My senior year, and actually ended up in the hospital because I couldn't breathe one time. And also just being around like my dad, it just a lot like of tension and anxiety builds up because of what he has done. I feel like mental health, you really need to take care of yourself. It's kind of like a sensitive subject to me, but working at a mental health facility when I was like a year now. It just taught me that I used to suppress my feelings and outbursts and was scared a lot. So, like I just feel like it's best to always take care of yourself because a lot of people go through stuff that you don't know. And a lot of family issues do hurt the children. So, yeah, so my only thing is to take care of yourself because suppressing it really affects you in the long run.
Have you done anything for yourself, for your mental? Oh, it's
Well,
me.
I've actually wanted to start going into therapy. I just haven't been able to recently because of my health issues that have been going on. So I've put it on hold for a little bit, but I am looking into going into it. My new job offers therapy. So that's my next step. I also was taking medication for anxiety, but it made me feel like a little drowsy and down all the time. So I kind of put it on hold for that.
Okay, well, as long as you want to make it laugh. Oh, me. I don't want to sound. I'm going to go back out and tell you know what, Rob? Take over for me, man.
Yeah, just I guess you could make me a host or something.
Yeah. All right, you got it. Take over, brother.
All right. I still hear it. Even though you're muted, Aaron, I can still hear that sound. I'm pretty sure everybody else can too. That's so weird. Because everyone else is muted except Marie. But Marie just joined back. I'm gonna mute her again. Hold up for one quick second.
Can you hear me now? Am I making noises?
No, you're good right now.
Oh, where's Marie? Marie, something's wrong with your mic. I'm gonna have to let you go, babe. You can watch, but I can't let you stay. Go. Okay. All right. So we're gonna move on. Nate's in the room now. I've been trying to get Nate to come to the room for a long time. So that's my big brother. He's my eldest. So look. Yeah. So I'm gonna let him go ahead. I'm gonna mute myself.
Yo, what's going on, y'all? Sound like we got gremlins on the line. But this is a very good topic. I apologize for not getting on sooner with y'all, but can you hear me? Yeah, we hear you. Because every time I talk, it seems like gremlins is talking. Can you hear me clear? All right. Well, I'm the oldest out of them two gremlins over there, Andre and Ann. But this is a very good topic. I have a social worker in the room with me, my wife. But I've come to learn that a lot of family secrets turn out to be family curses. What happens is the older ones do not explain or say anything about our older siblings. Like my grandmother, we didn't know my grandmother had mental health problems until a long way down the line. Then we found out our aunt had mental health problems. And it trickled down to my brother, my daughter, And it's a shame because if we knew what was going on, we could know the signs and the symptoms, and we can get help. I didn't know I had an anxiety problem. Well, I did, but I didn't until I was working one day, and I had to finish this project. And the lady was getting out of the hospital in 4 days. And the person that was working with me quit. And so I had to finish up the job by myself. And I got so frustrated, I got so anxiety kicked in, and it felt like I was having a heart attack. And I laid on the floor, and my chest was open, I could barely breathe. I laid on the floor for like 45 minutes. Thank God nobody was home. And I laid on the floor for 45 minutes, trying to get it together. And I finally got it together, and I finally finished the job. But that was the worst time of my life, because I actually thought I was going to die, and nobody was around. But see, once again, we cannot develop coping skills to deal with our problems unless we know the problem. And a lot of our problems come from our childhood, and it's inherited. So it's so important for us to sit down and talk to the older people. But we have to help them realize that they have to reveal what's going on with so-and-so. Why do she stay in the house all the time? Why do she snap out all the time? Why is this and why is that? So we can understand. So when we see the symptoms, it may not be in us, but it could be in our children. And then we know what to look for. And then we can get help. Amen? Anybody else want to add on? You want to add on something? I mean, it's so hard trying to help somebody, not having the resources, not understanding what's going on. And the only good thing, my wife is a social worker. So she picks up on different things. And then she knows who to contact for the help. And she said it's 3 A's: awareness, acknowledge, and acceptance. You have to be aware of what's going on. You have to acknowledge that you have a problem, and you have to accept that you have a problem in order to get help. Because if you don't accept it, if you don't acknowledge it, if you're not aware, then you're going to continue doing what you've been doing, thinking it's all right. But at the same time, you're tearing up yourself and everybody around you. And then some people wonder why don't nobody want to be around you. Don't nobody want to talk to you. And then the stigma of mental health, you become secluded and feel like you're out there. And that stresses you out even more. Why nobody wants to talk to me? Why nobody wants to go around me? And that's the worst feeling in the world. And then you wonder why a lot of people commit suicide because they feel as though they're at the end of the road. They have nowhere to go. Nobody will seek to help them. And we have to acknowledge, and we have to advocate for people. If you don't have nobody to advocate for you, that's another big problem, because now with mental health, they sweep it under the rug. And then the other people don't want to say that I have a problem. If you can't admit to yourself that you have a problem, then how you going to get help from somebody else? If you don't acknowledge that you have a problem, there's so many people that's running around, especially these children. This is the perfect topic, because now we're going to go through these children out here killing each other, shooting each other, and we think it's society. But at 9 times out of 10, it is a mental health problem.
All right, everybody.
And everything else in there.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I hear you, bro.
Has it been making that noise the whole time?
Yep.
When I left, it stopped?
No, it kept going.
All right. Let me see, everybody. Can y'all come out?
All right.
Yeah.
I can't even hear you guys. Listen, y'all. Let's go out and come back. I'm going to start the room over. Yo, you see everything's cool now, right?
Yeah.
Well, it must have been Andre.
But sometimes, but you know what? Sometimes I swear he was muted too. Sometimes.
Yeah, I thought he was muted too.
I was just about to end him because I'm still hosting.
And he wasn't muted. He was on the whole time.
Wow.
Was he?
Yeah.
Okay. Andre, we think it was you, babe, because when you left, it all stopped. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You got,
Kind of
some,
quiet now.
you got some sort of poltergeist or something in the background, Andre?
Oh, man. Andre has a way of messing things up. Just
And what
to
do
mess
you got
it up,
under the
you know what I mean?
That was Andre. That was Andre again.
That was Andre.
It was Andre.
Andre.
Like somebody
He always
speaking in
doing
tongues or something.
They always doing something.
Well, I better tell Marie to come back then because it wasn't her then. So,
Marie. Oh, y'all told
and then
Marie to leave?
Hey, Aaron, then he kicking people out, and he the one the problem.
Oh, Andre asked Marie to leave. Did you ask Marie to leave?
she left. She left. You know what I mean? I didn't kick her out. She left.
Who was Marie?
Marie
I don't know. It might have been my neighbor. I don't know.
and Marie Rook from our class.
It was Marie Rook?
Yeah, uh-huh.
Oh, well, if you want to call her ass a since you the one causing all the trouble.
Uh-huh.
Wait.
That's a shame because Nate, you was dropping a lot of dimes there, and unfortunately, I can only hear like only the first couple seconds of what you said before that sound came through.
Wow.
I heard
about to do it again.
No, you don't have to. Look, we got.
Do it again, bro. You ain't got to do it. I was mad because I couldn't see it. I'll see it because I kept the recording going. I never left it. I never turned the recording off. Hopefully, it won't be in the recording, but you know, we'll see. We'll see. That's the first time it ever happens. Probably because you came, Nate.
Yeah, I know. Andre ain't want me there, so he tried to sabotage me.
It's all good. You know what, man? That's why it's a live show, baby. If it ain't happening, it ain't. If there's no cutouts, there's no correction.
But Aaron, remember, if I ain't there, then he's the big brother, right?
That's right. That's right. But it's my show.
It's all good.
No, but if I can jump in for a second, I
Sure.
just want to say, yeah, hi everyone.
Hey,
Um,
Sure.
so yeah, acknowledging that that you do have a problem is the first step, because a lot of times, we all walk through life in denial, because we don't want to be the one, and it's like, no, I'm too strong for this, or this isn't me, or so we're the first. I think sometimes, when it comes to, like me personally, I have dealt with many bouts of depression, but I'm the first one to tell myself I'm not depressed, because I don't have time for this. But and you're trying to keep it moving, but at the same time, you realize that you're causing yourself the most harm. You become your own worst enemy, because you refuse to acknowledge that you have a problem. And you don't, you think that people are going to look at you different or treat you differently, or, but at the same time, it's okay. I've learned the hard way that it's okay to ask for help. You know, being raised, Carmen touched up on, suck it up, buttercup. I mean, I heard that so many times in my lifetime because, as minorities, we're not allowed, therapy? What's wrong with you? Therapy, that's for white people, or, you don't go to therapy. Like that's wrong. Like, like you hear that all still to this day and age, it's like that stigma that's created it. Like if you want to go talk to somebody, or you just want to have somebody tell you that you're not alone, that's it. You just need to feel like you are not alone, because you would just start to withdraw and withdraw and withdraw, and the next thing you know, you are isolated, and that's not a good feeling. So yes, in the last decade, mental health has been more on the forefront, on the lines, and people are talking more about it than they did in our childhoods, so it's a good thing. I see that, but everything takes time. It's still not where it needs to be, or as accessible, or as accepted, I would say. But there is progress. But just admitting it to yourself that, hey, something's wrong, I think that is very important, because then, like in my experience, I started to see myself in other people, and then I would reach out to them and be like, hey, how are you today? There's always something about the eyes. The eye, they're open, but there's nobody home. That's a look I recognize very well. So I just started reaching out to those people, and they have become like best of friends, because we're going through similar situations, and we've become each other's sounding boards. And we realize that, you know what, we are okay. We are all right. We're going to make it. There's nothing wrong with us. It's just sometimes life has a way of dealing you more that you can bear at the time, and then it just takes time to work through it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You need to have to work through it. Not that you can't work through it, but it's just going to take some time. One day at a time, baby steps. Keep pushing forward.
It does. It is what it is. You just gotta do the work. You gotta do the work. It hurt. It stinks. It sucks. Why should you have to? It doesn't matter. All that stuff don't matter. You still gotta do it.
Do it.
You gotta do it. If you want change, you're gonna change, or you're not. There is no two ways about it. Either you're gonna accept the fact that you need to change and be willing to do the work, or you're just gonna suffer and just live the life you used to live in. Because the one thing about mental health is that's your mind. You can get very comfortable with your lifestyle of insanity. You know what I'm saying? You could be that could be the thing that you prefer over like having a straight because I remember when I took medicine, I can remember feeling too normal. Like I can remember like not liking the way my brain was, not liking my existence at the time because it wasn't what I was used to. I wasn't used to like not having racy thoughts. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't used to not having constant sadness. You know what I'm saying? Between it, because mine is like I either have racy thoughts, real crazy racy. You can almost see it in my face, or I have a type of sadness that it seems like it can't go away. You know what I mean? And even don't even want to move. If something's on the floor, I don't even want to pick it up. I just keep on moving. That's something that you can get used to, and there's benefits to having mental illness that other people don't understand. You know what I mean? There's issues that you don't have to deal with when you have mental illness. You could just throw it away. Especially with depression, you could be like, whatever. And people be like, I can't believe that they're not doing anything. It doesn't make sense. Mental illness can make sense. They'll make sense to you if you're mentally ill. You know what I mean? So it is something you have to work on. It's never ending work. It's not like you're done, one day you're done. You know what I mean? The one thing I'm learning is that the older I get, the worse it gets. And it comes in a way sometimes that you don't even recognize. But then when you do recognize it, when I do recognize that this is depression, I was like, now I got a decision to make. Am I going to keep it up because it feels kind of good? You know what I mean? I know it sounds weird that depression feels good, but when you've dealt with it all your life, you learn. It's like a person who's been abused. You learn that this is normal. So your idea of normal is not everyone else's normal. So I can remember thinking, I don't like this. You know what I mean? I don't want to be like them. I remember that. You know what I mean? Because I felt like the things that were wrong with me made me better than everybody else. In my mind, I believe that. You know what I mean? So you know, to realize that you're actually not better than everybody else, that you actually are worse off than most people because your mind ain't right. Like to realize that you can't even trust your own thoughts is it's paralyzing a lot of times. It's paralyzing. You don't know what else. What am I going to do if I can't trust my own damn thoughts? You know, one of the things that I learned is the best thing to do is call somebody. Just call them out of the. You don't even got to talk about your issue. Sometimes you just need to communicate with someone outside yourself. You know, some things you can talk away. Yeah, you can't talk everything away, but sometimes it's just a matter of your depression isn't really because you're lonely. Your depression is because you're isolated. Sometimes you got to deal with that isolation. You know, and it's hard to make an effort. But in these days it's a lot easier because your phone is usually on you. You know what I mean? So I try to make an effort to make sure I call somebody every day. You know, I used to remember when I was young, right? I had this idea that I was going to be this really cool dude when I grow up. I'm going to have like 1,000 phone numbers, and then I graduated, and I thought I was going to have 1 million friends. I had like my mom's phone number, my Nate's phone number, my twin's phone number, and my grandma's. That's all I had. There was no one else to call, yo.
Oh.
And they didn't like me that much either. So I was like, oh, Lord. Called it a trap, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, I can remember being mad at them and everyone else, being mad at the world because of what they didn't give me. I was like that. I didn't understand. Why wouldn't you you know what I'm saying, cater to me. Like, why wouldn't you understand what I'm telling you? You know what I mean? But I realized that there was a disconnect. Now that I'm older, I was disconnected. You know what I'm saying? I created a disconnect. You know, and I can say that it was my fault. I know that I had mental illness, but I also learned that I still have to take responsibility. I can't let the mental illness be the one running the show. I gotta take responsibility for my issues. I just have to. It's not something that I can brush off. I've done it. I did it for about 30 years. I brushed it off 30 years. You know what I mean? And then next thing you know, I'm in some cuckoo bed looking at all the crazy people, wondering how. And it was weird is I knew I belonged there, and I was there with some real crazy people, and we got along just as well. We finally free and happy and talking. Yo, I didn't know that was my normal. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know those people were my normal. I used to be mad when crazy people used to look at me across the street, like with that crazy smile and come running to me. You know what I mean? I'd be like, what the hell is wrong with these crazy people, man? You know, I just attract them. No, I'm not attracting them. I'm one of them. I'm one of them. You know, and I really wanted to talk about this issue because it's not an issue. It's really just another thing we have to deal with because we're alive in the world. Just another thing. You know what I mean? And you know what? I don't know if Andre got to talk. Did you get to talk, Andre? You got anything to say? No? All right. I'm gonna leave Andre alone because Andre probably just happy that I ain't dead somewhere. But you know what? Does anyone else have anything they want to say? No? Listen, I love you all. I'm grateful for you all. And I want to thank you for coming. Always come if you want to. You're always invited. Listen, I'm sorry for the people who probably are watching on the outside. They could because of Andre's phone. I love them to death. And listen, everybody, wave each other out and be grateful. It's the holidays. I know it's tough for some people. You know, it's tough for me too. And I just want to say I love you. If you need me, you got my phone number. I texted you, so I know you got it. Give me a call. And that's going to be it. We're at the hour. No one's done. Everyone's done. And take care of yourselves. Okay. I love y'all. All right.
Y'all
Love
take it
you
easy,
too.
everybody.
All right. Take care
Have
of
a
that.
good one.
There you
Have
go.
a good one.
All right, little bros. Love y'all.
All right.
Y'all
Now.
have
Bye,
later.
Joe. It's good to see you.
You
Call me
too.
later. This is a
All right,
beautiful
now.
topic. You get kudos for this one.
All right, y'all.
All right.